Okay, I have the shell off, as you can see. These grab irons attached to the chassis underneath here, and if you don't pay attention to that, you can't get the shell off. All right, now what I'm concerned about is this wheel here. It doesn't seem to be rotating. I mean, it does rotate, but it doesn't rotate with the movement of the track, or these wheels rather. So somewhere in there must be a gear that is not connecting under here. So we're going to go take a look at that, and I'll point out also here is the battery holder. It held this battery, which I don't know if it's MTH or not, but clearly this is not a new set. It's been run. And anyway, I replaced that battery with this BCR2, and there's a little plug here. It's very simple. You pull this plug apart, take battery out, put the BCR in, plug it in, and I'm just using a rubber band to hold the BCR in place. Now the bigger question is in here. There are, it's kind of like spinners on wheels, and this is actually supposed to spin. See that? Well, it doesn't. There's a gear here, and it should be engaged down below. It is not. Let me show you. You look in here. See this little gear here? Well, it moved out of place. There you go. And therefore it wasn't engaging with, there we go. Wasn't engaging with this gear down here. It's attached to the axle. So I have to reposition this, and I think once I get that positioned properly, then this outer wheel here will spin as the engine moves. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, I'm not sure, but if you can see these sort of plastic pieces with, it looked to be like clamps that hold this wheel assembly on, and this, excuse me, and the gear on this wheel assembly attaches to a gear that's attached to the axle, the actual axle of the train itself. And I think if I can take these off, I should be able to pull this unit out and get that thing to stay properly. But it seems that maybe it looks like it's gnarled metal on that shaft that is supposed to hold this gear, but I think over time, which is another indication of the fact that this is not a brand new bullet train, is worn, and that gear, as soon as it's under any pressure at all, spins and it moves out of the way. So let me pull that off and see what happens. Okay, so I think you can see, let me get a bit of light in here. You can see that this gear is here. It's right up against that piece, and it meshes with the gear on the axle. And notice how that's supposed to spin? That's what's supposed to happen. Okay. Now let me see what I can do to secure that a little better. Now that I think about it, what I'm going to do, now that I've moved that gear so that it meshes with the axle gear, I'm going to put it on the track and run it for a while and see if it's all I needed to do, and that it will stay there, that there is enough friction on that large wheel axle to hold it in place. Well, we'll go find out. Okay, I've got it on the track, and that's the gear. That's sort of the offending gear, so to speak, but now we'll see if it really is the problem. going to fire up, start up the engine. There we go. And let's move it and see what happens. There it goes. You can actually see the wheel spinning. That's what's supposed to happen. Well, I can put those retaining rods back on and close it up and see if that's the problem, and if it doesn't spin, I can just go in there and hook it together. Well, I have the retaining bar in, and I decided before I put the shell on, I'm going to put it back on the track, attach the cars, and run it around the layout a little bit to see if those wheels spin and that gear doesn't disengage. So, next stop will be the layout. What I didn't notice right away, and you can see it, is there is a crack completely through that gear. What you're going to see, because that gear is broken, it's going to disengage, and that will continue to happen until that gear is fixed. There's the crack, and that's what I have to fix if I want to save this gear. And I use baking soda to do it. Okay, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I did a little research and found out that I was going at this the wrong way. I didn't want to, actually, originally I didn't know how to pull these apart. And then I looked closely and I realized that everything's just pushed on. Pressed on. So with a little bit of coaxing, I separated the wheels and was able to just take the gear off. So now, as I pointed out earlier, let's see if I can get this right here. There is a crack. Let me see if I can get it to you, but I can't. Well, anyway, there is a crack, and I think I showed it in another video or a picture. Yeah, there it is. Let me get it there. I think you can see it. Yeah, it's real hard. There we go. There, it's quite clear now. And, you know, originally what I was going to do is try to glue this gear onto the shaft, and that wasn't working. So I did a little research and found out that problem isn't unique, but there are some unique solutions to it. And one of which was to use super glue and baking soda. I had no idea that you could do that, and that's what I'm going to do. So what you do is you put a little bit of super glue into the crack, and then sprinkle in some baking soda, and that hardens up. And you know, looking at YouTube videos, they made whole gears out of that combination of super glue and baking soda, but the bond is very strong. So I'm hoping once I get the super glue in there and dust it with baking soda, that it'll bond as if it was brand new, had no crack, and then I'll just press it back onto the shaft, press the two sides together, and hopefully it'll work. So we'll find out. All right, now I'm going to get this stuff out of the way because I don't want to scoop it up. Now, I did some trial runs, and I was using thick CA, and it didn't work right well. So now I've got a bottle of my bottle of thin CA, And what I'm going to do is what I've seen in multiple videos, and hopefully this is going to work. So let's try it. Let me get this over here. Get some super glue in there. Okay. Said not to put too much in it. Shoot, I'm not afraid. So I'm hoping that that is going to seal up the crack. And sure enough, that's pretty hard. Fortunately, it's not a part of the gear that's going to cause any trouble at all. So I'm going to press it on and see how successful we've been with doing it this way. I'm going to turn the video off and clean it up a little bit. Okay, get this out of the way and take another look at the gear. Let's see. Well, I can't, well, there's a little line where you can see it, but for the most part it really looks closed. So the key, oops, so the key will be when I press it on, if it actually stays on. Let's find out. Okay, here's the shaft. And if you notice, one side just has the knurled part on one end, and then there are two. So let me see if it'll go on and, oh boy. Now see, it still rotates, so there's more going on than just the crack. Okay, well, okay, I tried one more time. I used a clamp to secure. There was a little opening, really hard to see, that hadn't yet sealed on that side, so it was still open. So I used a clamp to clamp it. I used a real thin CA glue and a little bit of baking powder, baking soda, and so far it seems to work. I pressed this on, it's onto the end, and it's holding. So hopefully this will work. I'm going to put it in and see what happens. Okay, well, I put it back, put the axle back in, secured it. I pressed the repaired gear back on, and it seems to be, I mean, there was a lot of resistance pushing it back on, so I'm hoping it's going to hold. And I think that was the problem, because it cracked. So I'm going to put it on the track and see if it stays engaged, because I don't think those wheels are going to cause that much of a problem. And then if that works, I'm going to press the big wheels on and put it in and call it a success. Well, as you can see, it's spinning, and I don't seem to have any problems whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to start up the Silver Bullet, and I'm going to put it through its PFA announcements, and it'll run through a cycle of the doors as well. There's a startup. And now I'll do the PFA. Now, as the engine comes by, pay attention to those big silver wheels, and the spinners on the inside, or actually the whole wheel is turning. Let's slow it down. See them turning? That fix has worked.